Welcome to another Good Gut Live. It's been a little bit, but we are back. For those of you that maybe don't know, my name is James Marin. I'm an integrative registered dietitian, environmental nutritionist, the founder of Married to Health, and the host of Good Gut Live. Welcome as you trickle in, and thank you for joining us. We have a really special topic today. I think all of our topics are so important. We really try to impart knowledge that you can take away on your daily life and just really help our patients, our community. Today's topic is going to be the power of omega-3s, and we're joined by a special guest. I'm going to intro her, Kate Turner. Welcome, Kate. Kate is the nutrition specialist at Nordic Naturals. As a registered dietitian and personal trainer, Kate is passionate about improving people's health through evidence-based nutrition, education, and exercise. This passion drove her to complete her master's in nutrition education and later teach at her alma mater. Kate has over 12 years of experience in the field of nutrition as a wellness director, private nutrition consultant, educator, and public speaker. She believes each moment is an opportunity to educate one another and is committed to sharing her knowledge and expertise to improve the lives of others. In her free time, you can find Kate experimenting in the kitchen, exploring the outdoors with her kids, or curling up with a good book in her sauna. Anything to add to that, Kate? With that
I
beautiful
think you
intro.
got it all. It's always like that awkward. Okay, let's just
Okay, come on. I
myself
know, but
then.
and now it's the organic conversation time, so enough of that.
Yeah,
But
please.
but we're excited to have you, and it's always fun collaborating. And for those that know us, I mean, we collaborate with brands we truly use, believe in, and appreciate. We see this ecosystem we're creating of health professionals. We need brands to make great products, whether it's food and supplements. We need farmers. I mean, there's so many in this ecosystem. It's all about coming together. So we're excited for you to just share your expertise on omega-3s. And really, I think, and we'll let this flow where it's going to flow, but a good place to start is like, what the heck is an omega? Like, what is an omega-3? I think people out there, a lot of our community know, but maybe we start with like, okay, omega-3, we hear 3, 6, 9, and start there maybe a bit and fill us in a little bit on the basics right now.
Yeah. So what I will say is, I mean, we could go so deep into what omega-3s are, but I really want to share with you and your audience really kind of what they would want to know, right? Like I love
Yes.
also when I'm listening to a podcast, I'm like, just tell me what I really want to know, right?
Yeah.
Like don't give me the fluff. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try to trim it down as much as I can.
Love it.
But going back to the basics, omega-3s are a polyunsaturated fat, right? So we have our saturated fats, monounsaturated fats, and polyunsaturated fats. So
Mm.
you will also hear it termed with omega-6 fats as well. But when we talk about omega-3s, we are primarily talking about EPA and DHA.
Yes.
And really where they live is in your cell membrane. So they work at the cellular level. Now, I often, even when I'm talking to people and I'm like, they're so great for your cellular health, I feel like that's where I lose them. They're like, okay, why do I care about that? Like I
Yeah.
want to hear about like how it's gonna make me beautiful and right, like there's so many other things. They're like, okay, cellular health, like it just doesn't ring as well. But I want to explain to you why that's so important. So your cells are at the basis for everything you do, right? How our body functions. They're that primary foundation to your overall health. There are over trillions of cells within our body. And so, where EPA and DHA lie, those omega-3s that your body really needs are in your cell membrane. So, what surrounds your cell. And what they do is they add to fluidity and flexibility of that membrane. And what that means is when your cell membrane is more fluid and flexible, nutrients can get into the cell more easily and effectively, and waste can also be pushed out of the cell more effectively and easily. So, right in the same token, too, if you don't have a diet that's sufficient in omega-3s, that cell membrane can become really rigid. So I like to think of like bodies stacking next to each other and they're just not letting anything in or letting anything out. So when we have enough omega-3s in that cell membrane and present, fluid and flexible, and those nutrients can get in, you can think of it as like a healthy cell versus when you may not have as many omega-3s to actually lend to that fluidity and it's very rigid. it lends itself to more of an unhealthy cell because nutrients can't get in and also waste can't get out. So, with that said, how does it kind of apply to you in your daily life? I like to think of it as if I'm making the effort to eat really well, maybe right to take some supplements, I want to make sure that I'm getting like the biggest bang for my buck, right? That those nutrients that I'm taking in are actually getting into those cells where they can work and apply. And so omega-3s, that's why we call them a foundational nutrient because they really help all your other nutrients work and they're kind of like that support.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. And well, and then I mean, there's so many places we could go right here, but
Yeah.
this reminds me of, I mean, as a dietitian for over a decade of kind of diabetes, and I know, diseases. I mean, there's so many listening with comorbidities, with diabetes, with heart disease, and all this. I mean, what can you say about that? Because when I think of or when we're educating, we also think of a cell like your room, and your room can get dirty and cluttered, and there's dirt on the floor, or you're not putting away your clothes, and it just becomes a mess. So when we're talking about like omegas helping with that cleaning, or really just that tidiness of the cell, the fluidity of the cell. I mean, what does that look like? Also, with someone with a chronic disease, or how does that kind of factor in?
So, because omega 3s work at that cellular level, they're supportive of every aspect of your body, right? So,
Mhm.
supporting your heart health, like we primarily think of EPA as supporting healthy triglyceride levels within a normal range, healthy blood pressure within a
Mhm.
normal range. Um, and then also just how your body is functioning. So anything you talk about, James, like whether um, we're talking about supporting right glucose or right, like you said, kind of tidying up and cleaning up, it's going to be there to support it. So that's where like we used to laugh because we used to list out like everything omega-3 support. And it was like 3 columns. And it was like, okay, well, this is just everything the body does.
Yeah,
So
literally.
but specifically like heart health, brain health, joint mobility, mood health. There's so many aspects to what omega 3s, and again, speaking to EPA and DHA, that can really support our health. But the issue is that more than 80% of Americans aren't getting enough
Mhm.
EPA and DHA. And then if we take it a step further, and that's mainly because of like just our standard American diet. But if we take it a step further for vegetarians, they're actually research shows that they're 60% lower in EPA
Mm.
and DHA generally than the average American.
Mm.
And that's mainly because they're consuming omega 3 sources in the ALA form. So
Right.
that's another form of omega 3s. And what that would be is let me tie it kind of into again, like someone's everyday.
Mhm.
Okay, James, if you go to the grocery store and you pick up a bag of flax seeds, what is it going to say about omega 3s?
What will it say like on the front?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll say rich in omega-3s or something. It'll use some
Exactly, right?
buzzy tagline.
So
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Same with like your walnut, your bag of walnuts, your bag of
Yep.
chia seeds. They're all going to tout like high in omega 3s, which, right, your average person, and this is where we talk about like labeling, et cetera. Like it's
Yeah.
all, you know, we're getting there. But you go to grab that and you're like, great, I'm getting, a good source of omega 3s on top of the other benefits to those foods, right?
Mhm.
But what most people don't realize is ALA needs to be converted into EPA and DHA, and that conversion rate is only 8 or 1 to 8%.
Right.
So to put that, more into perspective, you would have to consume a 10-ounce bag of flax or chia seeds, which 10 ounces is a lot.
Mhm.
You're almost at a pound there, um, just to get 1,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA.
Yeah.
Right? Or to take, if we're talking about like our ultimate omega plant based, that would be 2 capsules of that. So
Mhm.
taking 2 capsules right? Nobody's eating 10 ounces a flax or chia seeds. I mean, we wouldn't recommend, I mean, probably the fiber alone would not make your gut so happy anyways, right? Just
Yeah, it
taking
would be
that
a
in and out.
lot.
And also, like, I always think about, I always have this image because we talk about this a lot, but like just having all the chia seeds stuck in your teeth and like picking them out for days.
Yeah.
But that's primarily, it's not because, someone on a plant-based diet isn't eating well.
Mhm.
It's just that mainly they're eating omega-3s or consuming them in the ALA forms. And again,
Mhm.
it's not to say like eat your flax and chia seeds and walnuts. We know all the health benefits to them, but don't rely on them for your omega-3s. And that's where an algae oil is going to be your best supplier of EPA and DHA because it's that direct source. And in reality, that's what the fish are eating that
Yeah.
supply them with omega-3s that in turn supply us. So it's really going like direct to the source to get your omega-3s.
And it's funny, we were just at a large plant-based conference. We spoke, but one of the talks was Dr. Furman, who's big in the space, and I think he's pretty well known. And he was just saying the same thing, where I mean, he's been plant-based a long, long time, but saying, hey, he's recommending an algae supplement. Like, hey, if you're vegan or vegetarian, you
Yep.
don't want to eat fish, take an algae supplement. Even with, so I think that's where this gets into processing. I know we demonize processed foods, but I think it's really being clear of like, yes, the overly hyper processed, ultra refined foods, please avoid. I mean, that's part of the standard American diet, like I'm hearing you say, which is kind of pushing out some of these healthier fats that we should be eating. But at the same time, understanding that some processing is good. Like you can have flax oil and there's other oils, you can algae oils that would really help you reach that omega-3 profile that you're wanting. And then, with that, that's helpful. But even with that, the conversion rate, like you were saying,
Yeah,
I
like
think
for the
that's,
flax oil,
yeah.
you'd have to drink a lot of flax oil.
Yes, yes. And this really ties into gut health, right? Because we know gut is part of that conversion rate. How healthy is your microbiome? How healthy is your liver to help you process these fats, to help your microbes process these fats? And that leads us way down a rabbit hole. But I think for the average American, that is a general conversion rate. And then it is saying, okay, what can you do, right? Well, what can you do is we recommend a supplement. Dr. Furman recommends a supplement. Some of the top researchers and doctors out there working with patients recommend a supplement. Like we personally take an algae supplement, but that's also not to say, don't eat your ALA. But I want to know, I mean, I know you have kids and everything. What's that balance look like for you? Like, is it, yeah, I'm eating ALA. I know a lot of our patients also eat fish as well. And then omega supplement or supplementation, like how are you finding that balance?
So my kids, which they are fish eaters,
Okay.
um, I like to give them fish at least, I would say at least 2 to 3 times a week. They will eat salmon. And I am fortunate that they will eat it because I know there are a lot of kids out there that won't. But they take an omega-3 supplement each day. So they take our DHA gummy chews, which we do have in vegetarian form as well. But they take those, and then they also take our eye health gummies. I kind of
Mm.
rotate between the two. I feel like that's it helps me feel better when they get screen time. I'm like, here, take your eye health gummies. These are great for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's my cop out. But we know it's primarily like with kids, we want them to be getting DHA. That's
Mhm.
really going to help with, brain development, eye development, but then also learning and memory. So they take a DHA supplement every day. They love it, especially. I mean, it's because it's in a gummy chew form. They'll take any type of gummy. But I love that there is a vegetarian option and then also a fish option as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, their diet is, I would say it's fairly well balanced, but it does make me feel good when I'm giving them those gummy chews.
Yeah, so gummy, yeah, so a little bit of fish. And I know for like our daughter, yeah, who's well, I mean, we've been fully plant-based for like 14 years. Our daughter's 10 and a half, and we do balance that. She does eat chia, she does eat flax, she does eat walnuts, she eats, lots of leafy greens and all these plant foods that are beautiful, but then
Yes.
she does supplement with the algae omega. And it was what's so crazy is when she was little, she used to like to bite them open
Hmm.
and drink the, and I'm like, how? Because even, I mean, it's almost like a fishy algae. It just smells like the ocean when
Yeah.
she would do that. Her breath would smell like the ocean. Now she doesn't do that. Now she's like, she'll swallow it. But she used to just love the taste as well, which is
No,
so
that's
crazy.
funny, James. A lot of people actually do that, even with our just our regular ultimate omegas, because there is like a little bit of a lemon flavor. Some people really enjoy biting
That's-
it, and I just swallow mine down.
yeah, me too.
Um, but no, but yeah, I mean, my kids eat walnuts, flax, chia seeds, like we call our chia seeds sprinkles in their yogurt, and they love it.
Mhm,
But I guess the way I look at it and the way I would want people to look at it is eat your flax, chia seeds, walnuts, right? All these foods that are high in ALA omega-3s, but
mhm.
eat them for their other benefits, right? Those foods have so many benefits to them.
Right.
Fiber, I mean, even walnuts are high in omega-6 fats, but in a good way. Like they're omega-6 fats have been demonized for so long,
Mhm,
but current research is actually really showing us that when they're coming from healthy sources and not from processed foods, they're really beneficial to the body. So
mhm.
it's eat those foods for their other benefits, but just don't rely on them for your for EPA and DHA because like we said, the conversion rate's so minimal that like, my kids the sprinkle of their chia seeds on their yogurt in the morning by the time it's converted really isn't going to provide them omega-3s, but it will provide them fiber, right? It's going to provide them some other nutrients, a little bit of protein. Um,
Mhm.
so that's why when I talk to people about making sure they're consuming enough EPA and DHA, it's really like, okay, well, if we're a non-fish eater, let's choose an algae oil supplement. And then
Mhm.
if you do eat fish, let's talk about how often you eat fish and what you need to supplement with. And I think one of the best ways, actually, and I don't know, James, if you guys have done your omega-3 index test before.
Ooh, I just wanted to ask you about that. Yes, we
Good.
have.
Okay, yeah. So that's a great way. If you're sitting here and you're listening to this podcast and you're like, well, I do eat fit or like I don't, I took an algae oil supplement before or I'm taking one now, but I still don't test your levels. We have one on Nordic Naturals website. You can Omega Quant also has a great one too. That's who we
Yep.
partnered with.
Mhm.
And you can check your levels. The test is so simple, as you know, right? You
Yep.
just do it at home, send it in. It's one tiny little finger prick. But then you can actually know where you stand because there are other factors that deplete your omegas. If
Mhm.
you do a lot of high intensity exercise or running, that can deplete your omega-3 levels.
Mhm.
So there's so many things, not just with like looking at consumption, but
Mhm.
also what other lifestyle factors may be depleting your omega-3s at the same time.
You probably didn't know, but for the last 2 years, we've been having a secret invite only regenerative farm event. And every so often, we or someone that attended would post it on social media and we would get tons of DMs asking to attend. So instead of doing another amazing regenerative farm dinner, we have spent a lot of time, effort, and emails to create a one of a kind regenerative nutrition and gut health experience that anyone can attend. See you on the farm. I love that. Yes, that was perfect. You read my mind because it is. It's like, okay, well, how do I know? How are my omega-3s and my ratios and what I don't even know what that is. And so yes, and one thing I'll just add to that, but you said that beautifully was with our patients, even like LabCorp and Quest, like you can add the panel
Mhm.
or just ask your
Yeah.
doctor to add the panel. And when you're going in for your regular labs, and hopefully you are, we highly recommend that. If you have insurance, it'll be covered in your insurance. Your doctor can order it. And it's so easy to just add on and do. And it gives you that peace of mind. And oh, that's my ratio, or that's okay. This is where I am. And maybe you can improve. And likely you can based on the studies. So
Yeah.
let's improve. So that's so
Exactly. So
important.
like and most people, like I will say most people get them back and they are a little low. So when you're like,
Mm.
okay, well they're low, what do I do now?
Yep.
The research does show us that, you know, over 1,000 milligrams and up to 5,000 milligrams is safe and effective for actually increasing your omega-3 levels and your EPA and DHA levels. So if you do take the test or you're like, hey, I know I'm probably low, starting off with at least 1,000 milligrams and up is the best place where the research is telling us to start.
Hmm. Yeah. And what's interesting, I mean, we get a lot of, like we were saying, instances where you're running more, you're exercising more.
Yep.
There's instances where you are depleting your omega-3s a little bit quickly. Interesting studies also, like there was a really cool cohort of showing those with immune system disorders, right? Autoimmune disease. Also, there's really cool. I know there's animal and double-blind placebo-controlled studies in humans as well showing an increase in supplementation benefiting those with autoimmune disease. And I know, yeah, so very interesting, still great research out there, but just showing those instances where, yeah, maybe, and really all that's to say is taking an individualized approach and looking at yourself and going, okay, I need to know my numbers here. I need to understand what's going on, but also understand my unique lifestyle. Do I have autoimmune disease? Do I have diabetes? Am I trying to increase my exercise? Age group and range, right? Are
Yep.
you 3 or are you 30? Are you 90? And so that's all going to make a huge difference. So really just understanding your perspective, your individualized needs is so important. But
Yeah, and we
that's
know,
great.
like you just mentioned, James' age. We know
Hmm.
that as we get older, it is harder for us to absorb nutrients in general, right? It's just tougher. So, and that, goes back to we talk about how omega-3s help nutrients get into your cells. So, I also want to talk to people about, whether you're currently taking certain supplements, which if you are listening and you are fully plant-based, you may be taking, right, a B12 supplement or a zinc supplement or a daily multivitamin or vitamin D. I feel like most people are taking vitamin D. And if you're not, get your levels checked, please.
Yeah.
Um, but it's really important to, again, then think about if you're taking these other supplements or if you're not taking supplements, but you are putting in some effort to eat a nutrient rich diet. Let's get those nutrients into your cells as effectively as we can. And that starts with omega 3s. So, this is how I also try to talk to people about, right? Because we can sit here and say and recommend that people take a daily omega 3, but really in the end, it's the habit that's going to make that change. So, I like to think of it as when you're setting up your day and you're going to focus on eating, nutrient rich diet or taking your supplements, think of taking your omega 3 first as that foundational nutrient to help those other nutrients get into
Hmm.
your cells. I will say also taking it with another fat. So I'll try to take it with breakfast if I'm having like avocado. Um, that really does help just with the absorption of omega 3s because it's with like fats. It's
Hmm.
not necessary. But that's where I find people will remember to take their omega 3s when they're like, okay, well, before I take any of my other supplements or before I try to like make this healthy breakfast, that I want to make sure, I'm not just doing it for nothing because I always say, but it's like if you're not absorbing it or if it's not getting into your cell, it's like what's the point, right? You're going through this effort and then you also may not see some of the benefits that you're hoping for. And that's also sometimes when people kind of fall off as well.
Hmm. And can we talk about, I mean, just getting in that routine? I mean, there's still some out there, which I totally get, but then a part of me is like, oh my gosh, it's a struggle for me to fully comprehend. But it's like, oh, you don't need the supplement. And I know we talked about conversion rates, but the fact of, well, it's not FDA approved and it's not pure and you don't know where it's coming from. I mean, can you comment on any of that? Because we still
Yeah.
come across that. Whether even it's from doctors, patients, kind
Yeah.
of across the board, we get some that are fully invested and be like, I get it. I've seen a change. I feel a change. It's part of my
Yeah.
routine. And others who are like, no, never gonna do it. And for those reasons I kind of just mentioned.
Yeah. No, I mean, transparency is key. Transparency is
Right.
key throughout the supplement industry. If you're not providing transparency,
Red flag.
it would make, yeah, it's a red flag for me as a practitioner too, So what and I can write, I'm just going to speak to Nordic Naturals in this conversation,
Yeah.
but that's why we provide on every single supplement we have on the box. There's a QR code that you can scan that leads you to the certificate of analysis for your batch of products. So
Mhm.
you can actually look at the third party testing. You can look at the potency, the purity. And to me, which I'm sure James, you feel the same, it's like in today's day and age, you have to have that.
Yeah.
You have to have that transparency. And I hope that anyone listening that wasn't aware that that's an important factor, it's a very big factor
Hmm.
to know, because technically in the supplement industry, it is not regulated. So you could write, a level of potency or milligrams on your packaging and nobody's really checking up on it. But if you can provide a certificate of analysis and also show, right, if you're getting third party testing, which is definitely like really important for our marine based products, right? So we can
Hmm.
show like we're testing for different toxins, et cetera, to make sure that it's really pure and the quality of our fish oil
Hmm.
and our algae oil. That's really important.
Hmm. Yes, totally agree. I mean, so like, yeah, third party testing and yeah, and I mean, we get approached by so many supplement companies, so many, whether it's like become an affiliate or here we want to send you this or partner with us on that, and it's like so many you would not believe, or maybe you would believe, but maybe our average listener wouldn't believe. But I mean, one of the first things we look at, we're like, okay, well, or our assistant even looks at it, but when it's just even not on their website of just hey, third party testing, or here's how you can know where we're sourcing and how we're testing our finished end product. It's like, wow, that's just a huge red flag where it's just not even there. It's like, what? Yeah. So important. Um, and then, I mean, so that's what we're looking for, and especially with Nordic, which you guys have, which is great, which is why we've been using you all for so long. But you have that just kind of transparency of, hey, this is where it's coming from, this is what's in it, this is what we're testing for, which is so great. And you guys have been doing that for a while. Um, and I think, yeah, it's so important to understand that piece, and then to understand, like, yes, I mean, I see it as an insurance policy. I don't know if you kind of explain it a different way to your patients or whoever you're speaking to, but it's like, yeah, you could, let's say if you have optimal conversion, let's say your gut health is optimal, let's say you're doing everything right, you're eating all the ALA, whether you're plant-based or you're eating the fish, even if you're omnivore and you're not fully plant-based, but why not just take an insurance policy, like based on the research, based on what we know, like that EPA and DHA is there to that. And where I'm getting with this is, can you take too much omega-3? Like, can you over insure? Have you come across that, or any comments on people who are like,
So
what if I take too much?
yeah, so I will say right now, like the safe dose that research tells us is 5,000 milligrams. Um, I know some people that take 8,000 milligrams a day. And this is again where I really think the testing is so key.
Mm-hmm.
So even like you were just saying, James, for anyone that's like kind of questioning it and they're like, well, I don't know if I really need it. Well, test yourself. Like
Yeah.
I challenge you to test yourself and see. It would be just like if, you know, again, we'll go back to like vitamin D levels. It'd be just like if you went to the doctors and added vitamin D to your lab work, which hopefully one day it will just be routine,
Mm-hmm.
but added it on and you saw you were low. What would
Right.
you do? You would
Right.
supplement with vitamin D to help get those levels up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's where, yeah, I would challenge you to test. But then also, once you test, that's where you can see how much you need to take
Mm-hmm.
to hit that sufficient level. So I always recommend if you test and then let's say you're starting your regimen, whether you start with that 1,000 milligrams or you take 2,000 milligrams a day or more, et cetera, retest.
Mm-hmm.
After 6 months, even 3 months of consistently taking your omega 3s, retest and see was taking 1,000 milligrams effective? Was taking 2,000 milligrams effective, right? So you can really see, but that's where I don't love giving blanketed recommendations because
Mhm.
we know this, everybody's body is different. And there are many other things and lifestyle factors that can be going on. And also, right, can be going on in your gut too, right, in terms of
Yeah.
absorption. So, someone where they may find their levels are low, they take 1,000 milligrams a day and it increases it enough. Another person, they may have to take 3,000 milligrams a day.
Mhm.
It really just depends. So if you want to make this foolproof, I suggest testing your omega-3 levels. Then, if you find you're low, start an omega-3 regimen. I would suggest 1,000 milligrams to 2,000 milligrams. So, for like our ultimate omega plant based, which is our new highest potency algae oil capsules, you would either take 2 capsules or you would take 4, which I would just break it up like take 2 with breakfast and 2 with lunch or 2 in the evening. And then after 3 to 6 months of consistently taking that daily, retest again and
Mhm.
see if you may need more support or if that was sufficient in bringing your levels up to where you want them to be and where is recommended.
Nice. Yes, we're big proponents of this of the saying test not guess. We use that
Yeah.
all the time where it's just so important to test. And whether we get majority of our patients are gut patients and like, what's wrong with my gut? Should I take this? Should I take that? It's like, well, hold on, you haven't had your initial appointment yet. Or, like let's understand what's going on, to understand your health story, the context. The
Yep.
context of the individual is so important. And then testing that individual when needed and necessary is so important because we just say even just a deficiency. Well, why are you deficient? What's going on? Is it a dysbiosis? Is it something physiological? Is it? I mean, who knows what's going on? That's why we have to kind of dig deeper, understand, and get that clearer picture. I guess with what you guys are doing at Nordic, and I mean, what can you say about anything having to do with the gut, or what anything you're seeing,
Yeah.
or yeah, commenting on any type of I mean, we definitely know there's a gut everything connection,
Yes.
but what can you say with that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so like we said, because EPA and DHA support your body at cellular level, they're supporting every aspect of your body.
Got it.
I think in relation to gut health, that supporting nutrient absorption is really key,
Mm.
especially, I mean, I don't know which James, you guys are in the right business because I don't know who doesn't have a gut issue. Like, I really
Right.
don't. I mean, pretty much anyone I come across, whether I'm working with them or just right friends and family who are like, "Hey, can I hop on a call real quick?"
Mm-hmm.
So many are. So really anything that can help with nutrient absorption because typically, right, like if our gut is compromised, that's one of the things that goes, right? Is like we're not able to absorb our nutrients as effectively. So if we can add in some EPA and DHA to help support that, that supports your gut health. I also think it's really interesting that so EPA, so when we think about DHA primarily, we think a lot about the brain and brain health. But interestingly enough, EPA is actually what helps support your mood.
Hmm.
So EPA primarily helps support a healthy mood. They really both work in conjunction all the time,
Mhm.
but primarily EPA does. And when I think about that, I'm like, because most people are like, well, why wouldn't it be DHA? Because DHA is in your brain. Well, what have we learned? Our mood is through research, is influenced by so many other parts of our body, including our gut health. Um, so we do not have, I cannot say there is like no research, to say there that EPA is supporting our gut, which supports our mood. But to me, there's got to be a link there somewhere, right? Because
Mhm.
our mood is so highly influenced by our gut health, and EPA is there to also support your mood, and is more of kind of a functional fat versus DHA being that like structural component.
Mhm.
Um, but again, like I was saying, nutrient absorption, I think it's so key. And then also that mood aspect as well.
Nice. Very interesting. Yes, the gut brain axis is always so
Mhm.
we call it, yeah, we have four M's when we're helping our patients. So it's microbes, membranes, movement, and mind. And the
Mm,
mind, just to
okay.
make it memorable, but the mind is that gut brain axis, and it's going like, hey, where's your serotonin coming from? Your dopamine, and yeah, we still need clearer studies. Okay,
Mhm.
what amounts and how much is actually coming from the gut and actually crossing that blood-brain barrier in your brain? Because I think too many get overzealous and are like, yeah, this is all produced in the gut and it's all going to your brain. It's like, well, we're still figuring that out, but it's
Yeah.
really cool to understand when you understand the context that, hey, we're using these neurotransmitters elsewhere. Yes, most definitely in the brain, but also we're actually using them locally in the gut as well, and it's very cool to see that produced. And we have this super highway where we know a lot more signals are going to gut, from gut to brain than brain to gut. So all kind of arrows are pointing in that direction, but we
Yeah.
are still trying to figure this out and going like, well, what exactly is going on, which is so cool. I mean, I love being a dietitian. I'm sure you
Me
do as
too.
well. But I'm like, I picked the right field because like, man, there's always new stuff going on. We
Yep.
think we have it figured out, and then it's like, oh, this study, what else is going on, and what, and yeah,
No, I
it's
know.
so fun.
It's funny. That's what I say to people why I mainly love this field is one, like, I mean, I loved science. I was a big, like,
Yeah.
give me like 3 science classes over the history class. But I just love that it's
Mhm.
always changing and it's always going to be changing because there's going to be more and more research coming out. Even, we've been talking about the gut brain axis now for, I feel like, I mean, a decent amount of time now, but
Yeah.
there's still so much we don't know.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it's going to be right. It's going to be our body working together. It's going to be your brain has to be in a certain, has to be at a certain level of health for your gut to influence it. And it, it really is fascinating. And I'm excited to see more of the research come out. Obviously with our gut brain access with omega-3s. And
Mhm.
I mean, to me, it's really endless.
We're in our actual kitchen, getting from our actual supplement cabinet. And really quickly, we hope you're enjoying this episode. If you haven't tried Nordic's Omega, Algae Omega, as well as Ultimate Omega, we highly recommend it. Again, we don't recommend anything we're not taking personally or haven't vetted thoroughly. This is one of the OGs, the original Algae Omegas, to make sure you're getting your EPA and DHA from algae. It's what we take, it's what we give our daughter, it's what we recommend to our patients. So click down below, you'll get our special link, get 20% off your algae omega or your ultimate omega, and join us in making sure you're getting your omegas because those are important. Yeah, I'm keeping a close eye on research. I mean, there's some research out there of omegas kind of falling into that prebiotic category, the mucolytic aspects of it. I mean, there's so many cool things on the horizon.
Yeah.
I love learning and reading more about it. It's so fascinating just with the gut and beyond, and really, yeah. One nerdy thing I'll say is I remember learning this in, gosh, when what was it, physiology or one of my early on classes? But yeah, like what you're describing is that phospholipid bilayer. And
Yep.
most people who
Exactly.
aren't, or maybe you haven't taken science class in a while, or maybe you never learned about this, but literally this bilayer is on every single cell,
Mhm.
all in our body. And it's like, and omega-3s are key in this phospholipid bilayer. I thought it was so cool when I learned that. I'm like, how did we not all know about this more, and how cool this is? And really we have like this science alien project in every cell of our body, and it was just so cool to learn about it. And that's exactly what you were describing, and what omega-3s are doing is allowing the cell to be healthy,
Yeah.
cellular health at a cellular level, and it's a beautiful thing. So I
Yeah. No,
very,
and for anyone listening, like when we are talking about this phospholipid bilayer, I'm
yeah.
glad James you brought it up because even earlier I'm like, it's always like, how much into the science
Oh,
do
go
we
for
go?
it.
But so right, you have your cell membrane, and your cell membrane is made up of a phospholipid bilayer. But what I want you to picture is a head with 2 legs.
Right.
Okay. So that's where your EPA and DHA are going to live, right? And if you have a cell that has sufficient amounts, right? If you have blood levels that are in sufficient amounts of EPA and DHA, think of one of those legs as having a little kink, almost like it bent its knee, right?
Mhm.
So it creates an opening in that phospholipid bilayer, and that's where those nutrients can pass through and the waste can get out of the cell.
Right.
But when you're lacking omega-3s and it's higher in other fats, that's when, that little head with two legs, that phospholipid bilayer, they're really packed together and there's
Mhm.
no entry points. Or maybe, you're just low in omega-3, so you have some. So there's a few entry points,
Mhm.
but it's not as many entry points for those nutrients and for the waste to be pushed out as there could be.
Yes. I guess what would you say, and maybe in some last tips would be, just for someone who's like, okay, what should I do next? Like I'm pumped. I'm hearing
Yeah.
this, cool, the phospholipid bilayer, and okay, my conversion and supplementing, but
Yeah.
what are like everyday things you're doing, and or what are some top tips you would give to someone?
Yeah. So what I would say is that, first determine, right, if you want to take a fish oil supplement, right,
Mhm.
or an algae oil supplement. Luckily, but we have ultimate omega plant-based and ultimate omega made from sardines and anchovies. So you can take your pick. But then after that, I would either start an omega-3 regimen of taking anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams a day, or
Mhm.
get a test kit, test yourself. Um, but I would recommend starting to take it, especially if you're listening and you're like, yeah, I don't eat fish and I have been getting all my omega-3s from ALA sources. I'm pretty sure I'm low. Start taking that regimen, and then I would test yourself in 3 months, right?
Mhm.
Or even in 2 months, and see again if the dose you are taking is sufficient to raise your levels. So you can either
Mhm.
start with testing and then take it. Um, but most people do find they're low, or you can maybe just from our conversation can determine, if you're, yeah, I can most likely say if you're already not eating fish and not taking an algae oil supplement, you're most likely low. Um, and then for any fish eaters, if you are eating fish 3 to 4 times a week, it does depend on like the source and there's so many other factors, but you may be able to add a supplement or test first and then see if you need additional supplementation. We still find that people do because again, it's kind of getting we say it's like it's your daily dose of omega-3s.
Mhm.
It's not just, right? So even if like let's say you're eating a piece of salmon or you're getting omega-3s from um, a marine based source that day, you want to skip your capsules that day or your liquid that day. Okay. Or your gummy chews. You can take our children's gummy chews for,
Mhm.
and we have adult gummy. We have our ultimate omega gummy chews as well. But that's where I would kind of start either like test first or start, supplementing and then test later to see where you are. And for your kiddos, for anyone listening, it's nothing but supportive,
Mhm.
especially the DHA and the studies showing how much it supports learning and memory, and with particular products focus. It's
Mhm.
so support and your babies, if you're pregnant or if you are trying to conceive right now or you have a newborn, it is so important for their brain development,
Yeah.
especially in your third trimester. That's when you uptake the most omega-3s. And I always want to say it's like, which, I mean, it's the detriment to every mom, but like your kids take everything from you. And it
Mhm.
starts when you're pregnant, but you need to make sure you're taking enough omega-3s. So also when they're taking your stores, you still have enough left because it's also really supportive in your postpartum phase, especially EPA with your mood.
Mhm.
So it's important in that sense. Even if you're breastfeeding, a lot of the times omega-3s aren't fully transferring. So that's another time. I mean, you could test your breast milk to see how much EPA and DHA
Mm.
is making it to your baby. There's no harm in that. But I loved it. Like our baby's DHA, which we have a vegetarian um, one as well. It's in an easy little dropper. You can drop it into their their bottle at room temperature. Like even if it's your breast milk in a bottle, you can just drop it right into their mouth.
Hmm.
It's really easy to administer, but it has so many benefits. And that's, I think, a reason why I've stayed in this field for so long and with a focus on omega-3s, because there's very few supplements that you can say, James, that support whole body health, like really to a T, whole body health,
Hmm.
and support every stage of life.
Yeah.
Like it really is, it's from conception all the way until older age. Um, and that's why also, right, like there's other nutrients to help support that as well.
Hmm.
And we have a Find Your Omega quiz on our website, which can help
Hmm.
narrow down a little bit more if you are looking for very specific benefits. But yeah, I think my biggest message is, get tested and take your omega-3s, know your levels, and support your health.
Man, that's so good. I mean, yeah, such good points. I mean, with breast milk, pregnancy, I mean, and this is where I love epidemiology because even in some of the like Adventist health studies, which is the largest cohort of plant-based people, whether you're fully vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, I mean, just really cool studies showing some interesting correlations and interesting data coming out of there. So please, yeah, test, please supplement. I think many doctors, many of our colleagues, us included, when we're looking at the totality of this research, we're going like, it makes sense to supplement in smart amounts. It makes sense for us to take an omega-3. We make sure our daughter's been taking it. I mean, since she was born, and then Dahlia in her pregnancy. So like this has helped us tremendously, and it is based on just really great evidence. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you kind of, yeah, took it really the entire spectrum, the entire life cycle, and yeah, it's a wonderful point. Yeah, there's a nutrient that can be so ubiquitous is pretty
Hmm.
amazing. Like, and that's where I think you've consistently heard about omega-3s for quite some time, and it's for a reason because they're just so fascinating, so ubiquitous, and so important. And I think especially now with the rise of type 3 diabetes, which is that dementia, Alzheimer's,
Hmm.
we are seeing the need for this even more. We really need, I mean, it's all connected. We could talk forever, but like metabolic health and gut
Yep.
health and brain health, I mean, it's all connected. Like you said, a whole body, really integrative approach for sure. So that is
I
really
know. I'm
cool.
hoping after listening to this podcast, people have a different viewpoint on how cool cellular health is.
Yeah, I think many do. And what's really cool is if you do want to learn more, Kate is going to be joining us on the farm, which is really cool, October 4th on the farm, because we are just immersing ourselves into soil microbiome, gut microbiome, amazing food, healthy fats, the plant-based world as well, and just bringing it all together with so many other great speakers. So that's going to be October 4th, and everything we're talking about can be found down below if you click down below to find links. So you mentioned the quiz and even learning more about testing, learning more about the supplements we enjoy from Nordic Naturals, learning about our farm event, the Regenerative Nutrition and Gut Health Experience. We're so excited to just really learn more and really just be in person, be on an amazing regenerative farm as we're talking about cellular health, which is kind of that regenerative medicine. It's a buzzy word, but
Yeah.
it's for a reason. Like regenerative nutrition, regenerative medicine is going like, oh yeah, our cells want to be healthy and be clean, like we're talking about, be permeable and really interact with our nutrients properly. So
Mhm.
it's exciting to just continue that conversation. But very cool, Kate. Well, thank you so much. That was really cool. So I love that summary of like, yes, get tested, understand your ratio, and take action. And we
Yeah.
hope this episode inspires you. For those listening, for those watching on Spotify, we appreciate you, Kate. We appreciate your time and your experience. And you talk so eloquently and concisely, and I love it. So we thank you for that. And if people want to find you specifically, where can they find you?
You can find me. I primarily live on my stories on Instagram. And it's at Live Well with Kate, or my website as well. I'm so excited for the farm dinner. It's going to be an amazing event. I have honestly, James, going to that ecology center has been on my bucket list. I
Oh,
used to live in
nice.
California, but now I'm in North Carolina and I'm like, oh, and so when we found out that's where the dinner was going to be, I'm like, yes, this is perfect. So I'm so excited to share some more knowledge and learn from everyone else that's going to be there. There's such a great lineup and I look forward to seeing you in person.
Yes, same. And I can't talk enough about the farm. You are transformed. It's like a portal to
I feel like
another dimension where it's like, am I in Italy now? Like, what just happened? And the beauty of it, the energy of it, it's truly amazing. So we still have some spots there. Yeah, we do have like maybe, I think like 10 now spots out of a lot that we had. So we're really excited. Learn more, click down below. We'll hopefully see you there. And for everyone listening, but thank you so much, Kate. And let you get back to the busy lifestyle of mom
I'm
and
going to go pick up
dietitian
my
and all of
kids.
it. And we thank you for joining us. Until next time, everybody, thank you for watching Good Gut Live. And you can catch Good Gut Live wherever you listen to podcasts. And we thank you all so much. Until next time, heal with each meal and feel with each meal. Thank you, everybody.